Well, good morning. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning up here. We've left Alcaro Bay, now heading towards Darwin. We've got about an 85-mile run to do today through some of the most complex tidal streams I've been through. Sort of works in different directions at different times as we pass through the 85 miles. So it's definitely going to be an interesting day. Hopefully we've timed it just right so that we fought the tide for the first couple of hours, which is about now, and then we'll have the tide turn and go with us, and then by the time we get to midpoint, Vernon Islands, well, it's actually 2/3 of the way to Vernon Islands, the tide will have turned there, take us through that narrow point where it's really going to run hard, and then ride us the rest of the way into Darwin. If we got it right, probably save ourselves 4 to 6 hours. If we get it wrong, we're probably adding 4 to 6 hours to the day. Still think it's going to be a long day though. I think we won't get there until close to dark into Fanny Bay at Darwin. Anyway, it's been a long ride from Airlie Beach all the way to Darwin, and we're still only a third of the way to Thailand, maybe a quarter, something like that. So we've got a week now to prepare ourselves in Darwin, just to fix a few things. The generator needs to be fixed, change over nav lights, we've got to change the house batteries on the boat. There's always things to do, but there are things that really need to be done before we jump off. Hopefully we can get our visas this week for Indonesia, and then bite the bullet and make the crossing and leave Australia for a while. Anyway, that's a long way in the future. For now, it's just today. Watch the sunrise. Still motoring. We been going now, it's 10:30, so 6 hours. But we've passed Abbott Shoal down. The tide is going to be against us for the next 2 or 3 hours in this part of the passage, but I've timed it so that we'll be at the Vernon Islands, the narrowest part, hopefully right on slack water around about 2:30, and then the tide will start to run with us through that narrow part, which will give us a push, and then for the final run to Darwin we should have the tide with us. So it's only this 3-hour period, hopefully out of the 13 hours, that we've actually got to fight the tide. There's a lot of timing here to do that passage between Alcaro Bay and Fanny Bay and Darwin. Anyway, we're on track, it's all looking good. Wind has dropped out. We've got the main up because it's basically giving us shade. Yeah, I think I'll probably ditch it though. A bit of wear and tear, it doesn't need that. Anyway, I'll show you where we is. That's where we are. Try and stop that vibration, there we go. So you can see we've turned the corner now, we're headed towards the Vernon Islands, and about 23 miles to get there, and then hopefully around about slack water, and then the tide will start to run with us in a westerly direction through those narrow passages. Anyway, there you go, update. Long day. I'm going to leave Tan and watch it. I'm going to go and have a rest. Hey Tan, can you look boat please? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Bye. Bye. Right. Tan's making lunch downstairs. She's got a Thai wife. You never know what she's going to make. Check this out. Let's have a look. Oh, what do you make, though? Fried fish. Oh, looks good. We're actually in a shipping channel here. It's quite a wide shipping channel in most parts. It does narrow down near the Vernon Islands. We're being overtaken by a fair sized ship here. He's doing about 13 knots, we're doing 5. So he's doing it nice and easy. I guess he's on his way to get loaded up because he doesn't look like he's got much on. Certainly doesn't look heavy in the water. Anyway, otherwise we're still motoring, flat calm sea. We're doing about 5 knots. I've got the main up still, which is almost filling. Just a little bit. It's probably giving us a quarter of a knot, not even that probably. But we've still got a long way to go to get to Darwin. And at present the tide is still against us, but it should be easing off over the next hour. So as we approach these narrows here, I'm hoping we're going to go through right on that slack water. Anyway, hello Tony. That's the good city of Darwin in the background there. Just coming on late afternoon, we're approaching sunset, and we'll be making our approach to Fanny Bay in the dark tonight. Shouldn't be too difficult, it's well charted, so no big deal. And tomorrow we're booked into Alcaro Bay Marina. We've got to go through the lock. Never done a lock before. That'll be interesting. We'll get all that on video for you, so you can check that out in whatever episode this video ends up in. And then we've got a week of preparing the boat. Got to do those house batteries, got to be changed, the generator's got to be fixed, nav light globes got to be changed over. I've got a list about as long as my arm. So we'll be running around for a week getting all that done. And we'll show you some of Darwin while we do it. And then looking for a departure early next week across to Indonesia. The wind forecast at the moment is looking, long range stuff is looking like there won't be any wind. If you want to get more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We've got lots more in the pipeline. We're going all the way through to Thailand. As of this episode, we are only arriving in Darwin. So there is lots more to see, lots more to view. And I think we're up around episode 26 or 28 or 30 or something. So by the time we get to Thailand, there's going to be well over 100 episodes. So subscribe, catch up with us as we release them. Just coming on sunset, we've got a nice view of Darwin in the distance there, but it is in the distance. Still 7 miles to go to our turn where we can start heading down the channel towards Darwin itself, into Fanny Bay. So I reckon we anchored within 2 hours, so that gets us in there at 8:30, between 8 o'clock and 8:30 tonight local time. So I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's the sound of fighter jets going over our heads at night, coming out of Darwin Airport. Tiny little specks in the sky. If it wasn't for the fact they had nav lights on, I wouldn't see anything. Sunrise over Fanny Bay, Darwin. Quite a lot of boats sitting in here in the anchorage. Interestingly, last night, I think very, very few of these actually had anchor lights on. And if they did have, they were quite dim. Anyway, there you go. Certainly the boat beside us turned his off when he went to bed. Yeah, guys, you know, like if you're doing long distance, if you're doing any kind of sailing, turn your anchor lights on at night. It's for the people who arrive late at night and conditions are more difficult that you need those anchor lights to avoid collisions. It was quite a hairy approach in here last night, an anchorage that we don't know. Nearly hit a mooring that had no idea was there. A special mark that was not charted. Yeah, so at the very least you can do is turn your anchor lights on and make sure that they're visible 360 degrees and nice and bright. Thank you. Rant over. Well, this morning we're going to pull the pickup and head over to the Alcaro Bay fuel dock. I'm going to refuel, and while I do that, I'm going to call the lock and ask them to come down and open the thing up and teach us how to use it, because I've got no clue how to use it. And then we're going to go into the marina and have our 1 week in a marina berth. That's going to be pretty special. And then I'm going to start all the chores and jobs that need to get done before we head off to Indo next week, hopefully, if everything goes well. So 2 major issues to deal with. Number 1 is replacing the house batteries. I'd like to do it with lithium, but I'm getting a lot of pushback from all sorts of people, including installers who won't do it or don't understand them. Yeah, it's as much as I really want to put lithium on board, I'm struggling to find someone who's willing to do it here in Darwin. anyway, I'll keep trying today. And the other thing is to fix the generator, get that up and running, and then everything else is minor stuff. But it's certainly a week's worth of running around. And we're still waiting on our visa for Indonesia. There was a bit of a muck up there with staff leaving the place that we applied to get them the visas that we used as an agent. So they're telling us that they hopefully be ready by Thursday, which is 2 days from now. So certainly if we stay for a week, we should have our visas, the boat should be ready, and we should be good to jump off. Looking at the long range forecast, it's suggesting that there'll be no wind on the time that we wanted to step off. So we may have to wait for a little bit more wind, or just go anyway and, you know, ghost across. I know Tarn would appreciate that because the seas will be calm, but it also makes it a long trip. It can turn a 3-day trip into a 6 or 7 day trip. Anyway, deal with today. We're going to go into the lock at Alcaro Bay Marina. That's our next mission for the morning. Very narrow entrance here to come into Alcaro Bay. Seems to be clearly marked, so that's good. We've got Lady D right behind us. Tarn's setting up the lines so that we can go in and tie up on the fuel wharf. We're now on the Alcaro Bay fuel wharf. Some very unusual bollards here, but we worked it out. We certainly couldn't get any closer to the bowser. We're going to do that now. Then we're going to have an induction on the lock, and yeah, then we're going to work it out from there.
You see those uprights? Got them here.
Oh, yep, yeah, the bars, yep.
Yep. Time of those, we're only looking at about 1 metre change.
Righto.
So you'll come in, you'll come up about 1 metre.
Yep.
So you've got to sort of set yourself up so the ropes don't catch as you're coming up.
Yep, I'm with you.
Yep. So once
we just basically loop it around and then back onto our cleat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
makes
pretty
sense.
much. Yeah. Give it a bit of slop.
Yep.
I'll keep control of how much water comes in, how fast. Because when we're coming in from the marina, the way it comes in, it wants to swirl.
Yep.
Big boats, it moves them around a fair bit, so I just take a bit by bit by bit, so you're not getting pushed around inside the lock.
So our bow line's probably going to be more important than our stern line. So if we're going bow and midship, something like that.
Yep. But I take it nice and steady.
Righto.
You should be able to get on this. What others have been tying off on the ladders as well.
Righto.
So whatever you can grab hold of,
yep,
that's no worries. I'll be only open the doors that way. Won't be using these ones.
Righto.
But these ones will be opening inwards.
Yep.
So you've got to keep your aft in. So
so you can close it.
Yeah, and I'll be keeping an eye out, and I'll tell you to move forward or back or anything like such.
Yeah, no worries.
Is that no worries then?
Yeah, easy peasy, I can manage that.
No worries.
We're walking along Alcaro Bay Marina now. The staff have walked us through the lock, how that works. So we had an intro into that. So we're going to attempt that shortly. And then they've taken us down and shown us where our berths are. This is real service here at Alcaro Bay. I'm really impressed. So we're closing the doors in the lock now, behind us. It's very cool how this machine works. We're in your hands, Dennis.
No worries, man. So I'll open up the sluice here on the front there.
Right.
The inner gates.
So water's going to start flowing in now.
You start to see the water start to swirl.
Yep.
The chamber here.
Righto. So Dennis is opening that forward gate now where the water's higher than here. So water's going to come rushing in through those holes apparently. And everything will change. We're just motoring forward gently on an aft spring, which is holding our bow out, and hopefully will keep us under control. Should be good. I'm not too concerned. Actually, I'm a little bit concerned.